Hello, fellow mech warriors, Mage Leader here. Welcome back to another episode of the Battlemech Primer, the series that doesn't look at clan mechs because I only know 4 or 5 of them by name. Well, it's been a great run these past few weeks. I have officially upgraded our dropship from a Leopard to a Union simply because there's so goddamn many of you people. It seems that Mage Squadron's low-profile approach is starting to fall apart, but that's fine with me. After all, mercenary work has been a lot harder to find since Mercnet went down, and the Wolf's Dragoons have thrown their lot in with the Clanners, so the MRB is hardly the beacon of quality that it once was. Maybe it's time for us to finally come out of hiding, but enough about that. You guys didn't come here for a rant on the current state of the galaxy. You came here for a mech. We've got a modern classic for you today. A design that's unorthodox nature is its biggest strength, and also what nearly got the thing shit-canned from the get-go. Today, we're taking a look at the Bushwacker. No, that's not a euphemism. Grow up. The Bushwacker was designed by Tharhas Industries just prior to the clan invasion. The exact date of the prototype's conception is unknown, as this mech suffered from some of the same issues that the Mauler did. Its initial version left a lot to be desired. The reason for the setback actually has to do with its most striking feature, its appearance. There aren't a whole lot of Battlemechs out there that look like this thing, and there were even fewer back when it first began testing. As I said before, the Bushwacker has an unorthodox design, a new concept for the inner sphere. It was built with a low profile and a wide stance in mind, and the goal was to build a machine that presented less of a target while maximizing its own firepower. In the end, the initial concept proved to be capable of doing that, but not a whole lot else. There were some pretty big problems. You see, by the time the Bushwacker came around, mech design had become fairly standardized. There were a few innovations here and there, but the core concept of what a battle mech should be had changed very little since the Star League era. Mechs tended to be at least somewhat humanoid in appearance, or else hunched over in a bird-like position. The humanoid designs had the benefit of arm mounts, which allowed for superior precision and range of motion. The bird-like designs were shorter and presented less of a target. And with all the incessant death and destruction caused by the Succession Wars, not many people had successfully managed to combine these two approaches. Tharhas, however, decided that they would be among the first. The resulting prototype was a flop, and a costly one at that. Turns out that when you take a tall, upright design and try to squash it down into a smaller one, things don't tend to fit too well. Cramming all of that hardware into a smaller, differently shaped box meant tinkering with things that the Inner Sphere techs didn't really know how to tinker with. The result was a machine that could barely even stand upright, let alone fight. Its guts were all twisted, leading to problems with ammo feeding, hydraulic pressure regulation, heat management, gyro stabilization, balance programming, precision aim computation, and basically anything and everything in between. Honestly, the number of things that didn't work dwarfed the number of things that did. After trying and failing to get the design off the ground, sometimes literally, Tharhas decided to pull the plug on the entire concept. The Bushwacker was mothballed and nobody expected anything to come of it. But then everything changed when the Bullshit faction attacked. When the clans rammed their artificially inflated cocks into the tight virgin corridor that was the FRR, rest in pieces, sweet space Swedes, they brought with them a bunch of new toys. Toys that the Inner Sphere was desperate to play with. Clan mechs would begin to find their way into the hands of the Great Houses as the invasion stalled and the Inner Sphere forces began to claim both victories and salvage from their vanquished foes. One such battle mech was a machine that the Freebirths dubbed the Vulture. At first glance, the Vulture and Bushwacker don't seem to have a whole lot in common, but take a closer look at that CT. The Vulture's reactor, targeting computer, gyro, and everything else typically found in the center torso is all compressed into that tiny little sliver between the missile launchers. The clan's scientist cast had struggled for a long time to figure out how to make the design work, and in the end, their success was copied wholesale. Tharhas would outright steal the techniques used in the Vulture and apply them to the Bushwacker, and in the end, they were able to roll out the first fully functional model in 3053. The default variant was the BSW-X1, and it came standard with an ER large laser, 2 LRM-5s, an AC-10, and a pair of machine guns. This loadout is focused primarily on long-range engagements, and with a top speed of 86 kph, the Bushwacker was designed to keep its foes at a distance. While its armor is fairly thin compared to other mechs of its weight, the smaller forward profile helps to mitigate damage taken. Of course, the best way to survive heavy damage is to simply not take it at all, and that's what the Bushwacker does best. In battle, the Bushwacker is a long-distance fire support mech, picking away at targets from afar and whittling them down with a steady stream of weapons fire, while running away from whatever comes chasing after it. Catching a Bushwacker is a tricky business, and you can expect to eat a lot of damage before you manage to close with it. It fires, repositions, then fires again, making it one of the most annoying battle mechs the Inner Sphere has ever produced. The Clanners hate this thing, calling its pilots rude gibberish things like Chalkaz, Desgra, or Dishonorable. But the mech warriors of the Federated Commonwealth absolutely adored it. The design enjoyed a large spike of popularity after its release, and forces tasked with fighting the clans found it to be a capable machine. For many Lyran units in particular, it became the default anti-clan device, a battle mech that refused to fight the clanners in their weird quote-unquote honorable way. It doesn't pack the same punch as a Thunderbolt or a Mauler, but it still does its job very well. Think of it like a mosquito, buzzing around from place to place and biting when the time is right. There is one drawback to the design, and that's a dependence on ammo. The bulk of its firepower comes from the missiles in AC-10, but once these are expended, it loses a lot of its firepower. It also does poorly on extended operations or in close quarters. The laser, which is meant more as a supplemental weapon, has a nasty habit of making the Bushwacker overheat as well, so be careful not to push it too hard. While not one of my personal favorites, I can't deny that the Bushwacker has carved a comfortable little niche for itself. Its role is fairly specific and its operational time is limited, but it's a useful machine for keeping the enemy frustrated or confused. If your lance is lacking in the fire support department, then you could certainly do a whole lot worse. Besides that, the thing just has an undeniable charm about it, probably from the strange torso design. And good God, just look at that arm. But even I have been known to play around with one of these from time to time.
Stomp, 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 stomp. Die, Clanner. Pew, 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 pew. I'm hit. Punching out. Damn you, Alaric Ward.
Did you spend all our C-bills on Spacey Bay again?
You look very pretty this morning. Ow! 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 I'm sorry! I'm sorry! Ah!
Sorry, thought I deleted that. If you manage to snag yourself a Bushwacker, remember to keep it in the back line. It's not a brawler, so don't let anything get close enough to touch it. Use its speed to your advantage, and have it supporting your heavier units from afar, exposing weaknesses for them to exploit. Or just put it on display, that works too. So that's the Bushwacker. It's an unexpected success, a battle mech that managed to rise from the ashes of a dead concept to become one of the most popular medium mechs the Fedcom ever produced. While the Jihad might have wrecked Tharhess's factories, along with a few million other things, the Bushwacker is still in use all across the Inner Sphere. It's a mech that almost never was, and one of the only things the appearance of the clans didn't ruin. In fact, it's such a nice machine that it almost makes me glad that the honor-obsessed turbo nerds invaded in the first place. Almost. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, consider joining Mage Squadron via the subscribe button down below. Special thanks to my $5 patrons, Tim Cook, Admiral Chirano, Z, Gary Moses Sweeney, and Tomoyaga Tudor. You guys are all spectacular. If you'd like to support me and the Battlemech Primer, consider joining the Patreon via the link below. Your financial support helps us make ends meet out here in the periphery, and your generosity will always be deeply appreciated. Thank you for your support, and I hope to see you all again here soon. Until next time, this is Mage Leader, signing off.